Hello and welcome back to SpriteGuard Plays HyperRogue. We have an ocean right here, and so we are ready to set to sea. Let's take a look at the overview. The next thing that we have for ourselves is the ocean, the living fjord, the warped coast, and the Caribbean, and then the whirlpool and Relaya and the temple. I don't know how much of that we will get through today, but hopefully we will be able to find our way to an orb of safety. And, so let's just head into it and see what we can accomplish. So, we're going into the ocean not really knowing what the tide is like. We do have this orb of speed that is going to help us out for the next 41 turns at least. And there's the tide already coming in, and so we are going to get out of here and wait for it to turn around, and then we can just follow it back out and pick up the rest of our treasures. And then once we have all of the treasures we need, we'll just find our way to a boat and wait for the tide to come in. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and one of these over here should be number 10. Let's see. Looks like the tide has stopped out there. So we do want to make our way to a boat and wait for it to come back in. So that's the ocean out of the way very quickly, very smoothly. It always goes very quickly and smoothly. That's actually one of the reasons that the speedrun world record was dropped really dramatically when the ocean was introduced, because that created another really quick, easy land. That was part of the reason. The other part of the reason was that at that time Relaya was still spawning in the crossroads. And so you could use a tentacle to skip the graveyard, because tentacles are long enough that you can get the key and then make your way back to the orb with very little difficulty. So what do we have next? We have the living fjord. So let's see if we can find our way to one of those. It's going to be a sea boundary. Oh my goodness, we have a bit of heat coming at us. Let's see if we can deal with this simply and effectively. And we have now a ratling that we can fight pretty easily, because out on the normal HyperRogue grid, it's pretty easy to fight them. You just have to do some little side steps. So we are looking for an ocean border, and this boat with an orb of safety in it would be really nice if we were at the end of the episode, but we are not. So we'll just have to hope that one of those comes up again sometime soon. And boy, we are just not seeing living fjords. I do want to double check that it is unlocked. It is. And so we're going to be hunting that down. We're just going to have to travel until we see it. You know, I often describe this as being the kind of what I call this game's equivalent of grinding, is you're just traveling across the open land. Also, I don't remember seeing those rattling Avengers before. That's something that I don't remember seeing, but it may be that we've encountered them before and I just don't remember it, but that was interesting. So, let's see, we're just going to have to, we're going to be getting into a lot of combat along the way as we're trying to find our way to our destination. There is a living fjord, and as I'm seeing this tile pattern, I'm kind of remembering that we passed one, like, almost immediately as we went into the ocean. And I just didn't think. I think I hadn't really registered that living fjord was what we were looking for. Now we have to be careful once we cross the 5 treasure mark, because we'll start seeing elementals spawn, and that's going to make it very difficult to escape in a boat. And we're going to have to be really careful about how we make our escape and where we go after that. And here comes one right now. And that troll corpse, it looks like, did not help us out there, so we're going to have to go somewhere else. And we can use these trolls to, create some places where the ground will not sink as easily. And so if we can get an elemental around here somewhere, in fact, here comes one now. If we can kill it, like in between these corpses... Oh, no, it's just going to destroy the corpses. Okay. So that didn't work out the way that I'd planned it to. We would need, actually, probably a few more trolls in order to dig out that orb of water. And so that's probably not going to be the easiest way of getting out of here. And, here's a troll now, and I've lost track of the orb of water, so we're not seeing these in the order that we need to see them in. However, we should have orbs of the fish spawning now. So we want to look out for one of those. Work out the tactics there. Make sure we survive. So let's see. Here comes actually a troll right here. Let's see if we can kite it into the right place. And then here's another one. There we go. So now we have an orb of water. Now let's see if we can find our way to a boat. There's a boat we can reach. So let's grab this orb of water. Grab this boat. And use it to fight this elemental and just try and get out of here. And because we have this crossroads, I'm kind of inclined... Yeah, we only have 11 water left. And so I think I'm actually going to escape into the crossroads for now. We can find our way to another ocean here. And we'll need to actually find our way to another boat as well, because we ran out just a little bit before what I wanted. But we can find our way to another boat. Make our way out to one as far out from the tide line as we can get, so that we can just wait for it to come in, not have to wait too long, and head right back out. After this, I believe we have the Caribbean. Let's see. No, we have the Warped Coast first. So let us look for that. That would actually have been something really good to look for in the crossroads. I should have probably been paying a little bit more attention to what I was trying to do. But I don't think it matters all that much if we spend a little extra time. See, here we found it already. And this is actually good because the water is where the treasures spawn. And so we're going to want to travel mostly in the water, and then we're going to have to make landfall anytime we need to be a little bit more tactical about our combat. But we can grab quite a lot of these treasures. Let's see, yeah, so these guys are both on the same color that we're on, so we would have to make landfall to fight them. And then once we've made landfall, we can come over here and chop down a tree, and that gets us on the right rhythm to fight them. So that is kind of the basic strategy for the Warped Coast that I have. There may be other ways of dealing with ratlings that I have not come up with, but that's kind of the main game loop that I find myself going through. So here we have another one that's on the same color as us, but we can use this one who's on an opposite color to get our timings worked out. There we go. So you just have to be paying attention and making sure that you are able to get to land to chop down a tree so that you can time out the combat correctly. And so now the Warped Coast has kind of, because I've worked that out now, the Warped Coast has gone from a land where I have very few options and I really struggle to complete it, to a land that I actually find fairly safe and tractable. Now we have completed the Warped Coast. The next thing we have coming up is the Caribbean, followed by the Whirlpool. I actually think I want to wrap up this episode. We have done pretty well. We have gotten a few different kinds of treasures, and I am pretty pleased. And so I think I'm going to be on the hunt for a crossroads. We're also going to be on the hunt for an Orb of the Warp, which it looks like we have one here. this will actually let us move diagonally, and will let us control the tactics much better. It will also allow us to do some interesting stuff in the normal lands if we can find our way to one that won't kill us immediately. We've passed the Rose Garden and the Zebra so far, so we're not exactly being presented with places that are easy to escape to. And the Dragon Chasms is relatively easy to move through, especially, let's see. We're actually being blocked here by the Warp Gate, so we won't be able to do that. So we'll have to see if we can get our way, and we can actually use... wrong color. Okay. Let's see. So we have run out of warp power, and we are not able to get into the alchemy lab the way that we wanted to, and now we actually have some rattling problems. We have quite a few rattling problems. Let's see. We can fight this guy, and then this one, and then this one will actually be kind of blocking our way. Chop down a tree, there we go. So that's got us out of there. We can escape through the alchemy lab. It's a relatively safe land for us to escape through. And, maybe if we can get into this Dragon Chasms, we can kind of traverse a lot of ground there. But I'm not seeing a way in there. We have all of the treasures that we want from this land. So we're just going to be kind of looking for an exit. Here's the Land of Eternal Motion. One of the things I was thinking, do we want to get the 25 treasures from here so that we have some little bit more flexibility in getting the Orb of Safety? And that seems like a pretty good choice to me. This is one of the easiest lands to get 25 treasures, and it's one of the most useful orbs to have spawning in other lands. And so I want to just take the time to make that happen, and then we will wrap it up. So we've had a very productive day. We have knocked out several of the ocean lands, and we will have, by the end of this, we will have a lot more flexibility in when and where we suspend the game. So this is just, I'm very pleased with today. It has not been a day of big fireworks. It has not been a day of really exciting escapes, but it has been a day that I'm really pleased with, and we're not going to make it to that Orb of Safety. So we're a little bit on the run, just because this land is kind of, you have to be really good about saying, okay, we're not going to make it there, we'll have to find someplace else. And we've made it back to a crossroads. There is our Orb of Safety. So in the next episode, we will be looking at the Caribbean, the Whirlpool, Relia, the Temple, and then we will be going back to land. And so that's going to take us through a couple of very difficult lands. It's going to take us through some pretty interesting places. I really like Relia, I really like the Temple. The Caribbean is pretty interesting. And the Whirlpool is extremely interesting. It's more interesting than I am confident we can handle. So, that is all coming up next week. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.